Hello, my dear subscribers and watchers. In this video, we will talk about more control flow tools. Besides the while statement just introduced, Python uses the usual flow control statement known from other languages with some twists. If statements are perhaps the most well-known statement type is the if statement. For example, we can do something like that, and there can be 0 or more elif part, and the else part is optional. The keyword elif is short for else if, and it's useful to avoid excessive identification. And if elif sequence is a substitute to the switch or case statement found in other languages. So let's create our first if statement. For example, we also must create something like that. So what we can see here, method input. What this method do? This method took data from user, and we will store the data from user in our variable. So let's run it and test. We can see that it print please enter an integer because we typed this it here. Let's type something 54 for example, and press enter. So now our 54 is stored in our x variable, and let's do something different. For example, let's create our if statement. If x is equal to 0, must print something. Yes, I think print only 0. Print 0. Elif elif x is equal to 1, print 1, and so on. Print 1, and also, and here we can type else and print. It will be print more simply. So let's test it. Run. Something was happening with this, so we must tap here, add tab here. So run. Please enter an integer. Let's me enter 0. It typed as 0. It's right. Also, let's me try to rerun and type 1. It give me 1, and for example something like that. It typed me more. So what is for statements? A for statement in Python differs a bit from what you may be used in C or Pascal, rather than always iterating over an arithmetic progression of number like Pascal, or giving the user the ability to define both the iteration step and halting condition as C. Python's for statement iterates over the item of any sequence, a list or a string, in the order that they appear in the sequence. For example, not pun intended. You can see how it works here. code that modifies a collection while iterating over that same collection can be tricky to get right. Instead, it is usually more straightforward to loop over a copy of the collection or to create a new collection. The range function, if you do need to iterate over the sequence of numbers, the built-in function range comes in handy. It generates arithmetic progression. We can see it here. The given endpoint is now a part of the generated sequence. Range 10 generates 10 values, the legal indices for items, a sequence of length 10. It is possible to let the range start off at another number, or to specify a different increment, even negative. Sometimes this is called step. To iterate over the indices of a sequence, you can combine range and len as follow. In most such cases, however, it is convenient to use the enumerate function. We can see it in looping techniques. A strange thing happens if you just print a range. In many object returned by it in many ways, the object returning by range behaves as if it is a list, but in fact it isn't. It is an object which returns a successive item of the desired sequence when you iterate over it, but it doesn't really make the list, thus saving space. We say such an object is iterable, that is suitable as a target for function, and a construct that expects something from which they can obtain successive items until the supply is exhausted. We have seen that the for statement in such a construct, while an example of a function that takes an iterable is sum. We can see it here. So it's all for this part of my Python crash course. In this video we learned more about if statements in general, also about for statements, the range function, in general more about control flows. In next video we will learn more about breaking continuous statements and also about else clause on loops. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.